Welcome back to the channel. Coming up today, we've got Manchester United are definitely interested in Alphonso Davies, according to United's former chief scout. United are also linked with another top left back and a young developmental left back. We've got Antony Exit talk about a new right back coming in. What's the latest on the INEOS and Ten Hag situation? Amrabat's regret and injury updates all coming up in today's Man United news and transfer news rundown that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the left back situation. So Manchester United have now made Miguel Gutierrez their top transfer target. He currently has a release clause of £35 million in his contract with Girona. Now, that came from Steve K, who is a fairly decent source, not the most credible, though, not an Ornstein or a Romano, hitty-missy kind of journalists. The thing about Gutierrez, though, he is a player that I think Romano and more credible people in the past have linked and said that he would be on the names of players that we're looking at the left-back position. Really good player, one we've been linked with for a while. Always thought he played as more of an inverted fullback, which kind of worried me because I don't think that system fits some of the other players that we've got in the team, as we've already seen evidence of this morning. But I was doing some kind of check-in and looking at his heat map before this video, and actually he has predominantly been playing more as like a traditional left back this season rather than inverting into midfield, although he can do that kind of role as well. But he has been playing more as a kind of orthodox left back, which is good. I do think he's a great attacking player, really good, comfortable on the ball, a really kind of modern day fullback. I worry about his defensive stats though, because they're not that impressive. But sometimes, is that because Girona are playing a lot more attacking and front-footed football potentially? So you do have to look at systems sometimes. He is a really interesting player, really top player. Definitely one who I think would be of interest to United. And definitely has been linked with us by more credible kind of sources. €35 million release clause. I mean, we're going to be owed money from Girona because of the Donny van der Beek deal. If you remember on that one, we sold him for £500,000. But there's something in the kind of contract whereby if he plays, I think it's plays so many appearances, or there's some achievable add-ons, I think it was worded by Romano at the time, where we could be owed an extra £12.5 million. So that it may be potentially something where we can do with that sort of transfer fee if we were to go for Gutierrez. But at the minute, I would say take that with a pinch of salt. I do think Gutierrez, though, is a player that's on United's list at potential left-backs. But do I believe the credibility of this story? Personally, no. But I'll keep my ear to the ground. And you can let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, one of the other left-backs we've been heavily linked with over the last few weeks is Alphonso Davies. So, Manchester United will push to beat Real Madrid to the signing of Bayern Munich star Alphonso Davies, according to the club's former chief scout. So, Mick Brown, and this is like the third or fourth story I brought you from this source regarding inside information regarding United. So it says Mick Brown, who spent over a decade at United during their most successful period and remains very well connected at the club, exclusively told Football Insider that the club's hierarchy are keen to land a big name player. And then the quotes from the article are as follows. So I remember when he came to Bayern Munich, he told Football Insider, from what I've seen of him, he's a very exciting player and he's a top left back. But you do have to question why buying and letting him leave for free, because he's available for free. I've heard United will definitely be among those interested. A left back is on the list of targets, and the opportunity to sign a big name player there is something I've been told they're keen on. Luke Shaw has been an influential player when he plays for United or England. Man United have missed him, but I'm getting fed up with being told he's back soon and then he never is. I feel so sorry for the lad. So it doesn't surprise me to hear the club are looking for replacements. Beating Real Madrid to the deal might prove difficult, but if they want to get it done, I expect them to push for it. So a bit of inside information there coming from, as mentioned in the report, United's former chief scout, who is apparently still well connected. I don't think you can put in quotes on articles, even if you don't believe necessarily that that's true. I do think that they are direct quotes, because I don't think you're allowed to do that in the media, just make up quotes from a person if it's not true. You could say sources, or you could say sources close to the club. and then make up nonsense. But I don't think you can directly quote tweet or quote somebody. So I do think that that's kind of genuine from Footy Insider. And there's definitely no smoke without fire with Davies. There's been a few, Christian Folks, good source for German football. Florian Plettenberg, I think, linked us with Davies as well. So there are some credibility around the Alphonso Davies move. And there is definitely no smoke without fire. And it does look like potentially we could be in the race for him. And, why would we not be, considering he's available for free and a very top, talented, young, up-and-coming left back? So I think we'd be stupid and not be interested in for him. Do I think that we're going to get him, though? No. I think he's got everything agreed, by all accounts, to go to Madrid. But I said exactly the same thing about Lenny Yoro, so make your own decision on that, because it was always widely reported that Yoro was going to go to Madrid, and we ended up swooping in and getting that deal done. The latest reports that I brought you a few days ago were around that United would have to match or pay around 20 million euros in salary, which is 300 odd grand a week. Whether they're prepared to do that or not, who knows? But there is some credibility around that story linking Alphonso Davies to United. I think personally, reading between the lines, I think we're in for him, but we won't get him. That's the way I feel about that situation. I think we'd be stupid to not at least try to get a top player like that on a free transfer. But I do think he's got an agreement or something to go to Madrid. That's my personal opinion, but you can let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, he's not the only left back that we've been linked with. Or not the only kind of, journalist that's linked us with Alphonso Davies. I've just made us a few there. So Manchester United are interested in signing Alphonso Davies and Leroy Sane, who are both out of contract in the summer. United are not interested in Leon Goretzka. That came from a fairly decent, not the most credible, not a Christian Folk or Florian Plettenberg, but a fairly kind of decent German journalist, but was reposted by some more credible outlets. So I'm going to kind of think that, not the most credible, but a decent kind of source. Kind of confirming that, yes, we are interested in Alphonso Davies and also Leroy Sane, but the Goretzka stories, apparently we're not interested in Goretzka. And I could kind of see that, actually. I think Goretzka's, for the midfield position, I do think we'll be looking at other options. Leroy Sane, we've spoke about before, still... It's wage and age with Sane. He's coming to the end of his career. He's on an absolute fortune. Again, though, free transfer. So is there something where we're going to look at these sort of opportunities to maybe get a few more players in the squad? Who knows? But yeah, so apparently interest in both of those players, according to that report. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then we've also Graham Bailey, who is a hit and miss journalist. So I would say take this story with a pinch of salt. And saying that Manchester United have been tracking Julio Soler and are checking a number of left-back options going into 2025. Don't know much about the player. 19-year-old Argentinian, plays in the Argentina League. 10 appearances, 1 assist this season. So fits the mold of being young, up-and-coming, developmental, relatively unknown from an obscure club that nobody's kind of heard of. He is the under-20s captain for Argentina as well, so has a little bit of that kind of leadership quality as well. But apart from that, I don't know too much about the player, which is actually, I like that. I like the fact we get linked with these sort of players that you don't know about, that you can do some research and stuff. I would just want some more credibility than Graham Bailey regarding that, being honest with you, because he is a hitty miss journalist personally. But let me know what you think about that one in the comments. And then moving on, there's been a lot of talk regarding a right back. So Manchester United have shown interest in signing Flamengo right back Wesley. The Brazilian side want 25 million euros. Now that came from a Brazilian source via Sport Witness, not the most credible, but reposted by more credible sources. Looks a good prospect, not one I've watched loads of, again, similar to Soler that we've just mentioned. I think we're pretty stacked in the right back position though with Dalot and Mazraoui. But if you remember, there have been reports that potentially Real Madrid might be going in for Diego Dalot if they don't get Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is who they want, because they want Arnold and Davies both for free transfers. That's what they're kind of doing at the moment. Real Madrid's model seems to be just get the players that you want for free and give them a high wage, as opposed to paying the big transfer fees for these players, and they're letting them. They're kind of pre-agreeing for them to run their contracts and that down. That's why I think. So maybe it's an option. Maybe it's a possibility. We might be going in for a right back. could, of course, just be made up to generate interest in the player by his agent or by the club to link him with United, which I'm personally tipping more towards. So unless we get more credibility regarding it, I would say for now, take it with a pinch of salt. The other player that we're heavily linked with is heavily linked with leaving United is Antony. There's been loads of stories over the last few days and weeks and probably months regarding him leaving the club. And I've got some more updates coming after this one as well. So some Premier League clubs have approached Manchester United about the availability of Antony in January. United have given the green light to let him go on loan. They want him to stay in Europe to try to recoup some of the investment. Now, that came from Go Brazil, who are a decent source when it comes to Brazilian players, effectively kind of confirming that, United would look to move on Antony. They'd be happy to sanction a loan in January. They want to try and keep him in Europe, though, with the hope or the aim, I think, for his performance, for like a Lingard, basically, where Lingard went out on loan, didn't he, to West Ham, did really well. His kind of price rocketed, and then we kind of managed to sell him. So I think they're kind of hoping to do maybe something similar, where we loan Antony out with the hope that maybe he turns on or finds some form, and then potentially to recoup a higher transfer fee than what we're going to currently get for him anyway in the summer. But no smoke without fire. Definitely I do think that Anthony is one that they're going to look to move on in the near future, probably on loan, because I can't see anyone in January paying for him personally. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then, so the Muppeteers also kind of confirmed a few bits as well, and I like the Muppeteers. I think they're a credible source when it comes to United news. So the first thing he mentioned was that INEOS are hands off in relation to the training. Ten Hag has full control of that. Again, reiterating that INEOS are not getting involved in the tactics or that side of life. He also said, though, that they don't want Ten Hag to feel he's under pressure to avoid him playing survival football. So that's apparently why they didn't acknowledge any of the reports in the last international break. I did say that in one of my videos, like that they don't have to mention anything, and I don't think we were going to get some sort of announcement on that meeting that was on the Tuesday, because they don't have to do anything. All the stories were just being whipped up by the media, and they don't have to conform to the media. And I don't think Jim Ratcliffe's that sort of person anyway that will bow down to media pressure or anything. He's just going to go about doing his own thing and not really pay attention to the noise going on outside. So that's why apparently they didn't acknowledge the reports, is because effectively they don't want Ten Hag to feel like he's under pressure, because they don't want to see, the type of performance we saw against Villa. We're part of the bus and we're just kind of trying to survive and prolong in the inevitable. So they want him to be a bit more relaxed so that we can kind of progress as a team, which is a, smart move, actually, I think. Muppeteers also said United didn't contact Tuchel recently, dismissing the Tuchel story. But he did confirm again that if Tuchel changed his mind and was open to the job, Sir Jim would hire him in a heartbeat. So kind of confirming stories that I've been bringing you over. Tuchel, that Jim Ratcliffe would take him, but he's not making the decisions. He's allowing Dan Ashworth and Barada and those people to make those sort of decisions. And then he also said that Xavi wasn't a final contender in the summer, dismissing kind of the recent links with Xavi. INEOS have been exploring what's around to see what's available short-term just in case. So that's an interesting one, because I did say that in yesterday's video when we were linked with Xavi, that potentially maybe they are looking at interims to come in the meantime. Xavi might be an interim option because he's obviously out of work at the moment. So there could still be maybe some possibility in that. And the reason behind that is because there's no guarantees Ruud would take the interim job if it was offered to him. They're also watching Sebastian Hoeneß, but wouldn't say he's top of the list as well. So a few interesting updates there from the Muppeteers regarding Ten Hag and the manager situation. One saying that they're didn't announce anything because they didn't feel the need, and they didn't want internally for Ten Hag to feel under pressure, because they don't want to see part of the bus football and just surviving football. And to be fair, nobody wants to watch that. So I do think that's a smart decision by them as well. But then also kind of maybe suggesting that we are potentially looking or looking at potentially interim managers, because we think the managers that we want is not available until the summer. Like I think for me personally, reading between the lines, and there's all this manager kind of nonsense, right, is I think unless things go drastically wrong, so i.e. we lose a shit ton of games in a row and start to kind of fall apart, I think Ten Hag's here for the season, and then they're going to reassess it in the summer. That's the way I kind of see it. So unless things go drastically wrong and we start getting stuffed every week, Ten Hag is here to stay at least until the summer, and then I think they're going to review it again. I think that they've got someone in mind that they want to take who's maybe not going to be available until the summer, and that's what they're kind of waiting for. That's my personal opinion, reading between the lines, but you can let me know if you agree with that or disagree with that in the comments. And then the final stories I've got for you. Firstly, regarding Amrabat. So Sofyan Amrabat, in an interview yesterday ahead of the game tonight, said that I have a special relationship with Ten Hag. He wanted to keep me this summer, so I wish him the best, but not for Thursday. I hope they lose. The reason for my departure, the only thing I want to say is you have to ask Mr. Wilcox. So Amrabat suggested there that Ten Hag wanted to sign him, but it was Jason Wilcox that kind of dismissed the deal and kind of didn't sanction that signing. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about that. Like, I can I can see both perspectives from that, because Amrabat was a player, like if you analyze it and take a step back, right, he had a pretty shit season with us, hardly played, and then the end of the season he had some really decent performances. Obviously the cup final, he was instrumental in that, and I remember a couple of games at the end of the season, but a couple of games, does that warrant us paying for him, bringing him in, paying his weekly wage? Do you know what I mean? I'm not 100% convinced. But then on the flip side, when I look at the squad for tonight's game, when you're missing pretty much all your midfielders, we've only got 3 midfielders that we're taking, Eriksen, Casemiro and Ugarte. And Eriksen and Casemiro we're looking to sell and remove, apparently. But, you know, so if we were to let them go, we've got no replacements coming in. So actually having Amrabat as a rotation option, I think would have been a decent option, but can see the club's perspective around why they wouldn't sanction that deal, sanction the fee, pay his wages and stuff when there's no real longevity in it. And the fact is he did have a good end to the season, but was terrible for pretty much all of the season on loan. So I can kind of see it from both ways, but you'll have to let me know in the comments. Do you think it's a mistake not getting Amrabat this summer? Or would you have signed him? Let me know in the comments below. And then the final story I've got for you is regarding the injury news. So Erik Ten Hag has confirmed that Mount has been out a little bit longer than we expected. I don't think I think he will be back soon, which, what can you say about Mason Mount? Like, he's up there with as frustrating as Luke Shaw, who coincidentally was seen back in individual training at Carrington yesterday, back out on the grass. So, you know, answers on a postcard. I think these two are starting to annoy me, actually. Do you know what I mean, with their injury record? I seen a stat actually that was saying that Christian Eriksen, when he was out with his when he had a heart attack and was out for just as many days as what Luke Shaw's missed for United. I do think that's a little bit misleading, though, because there's been a summer break. So I don't think, in terms of games, I don't think he's missed as many. But yeah, and Mason Mount, I mean, the guy just cannot stay fit, can he, for 5 minutes? What did he come on against? Came on when Bruno got sent off, didn't he? Come on against, was it? And then come off again that half with a head injury and has never been seen for 3 weeks since, which is, you know, the guy just cannot stay fit, just like Luke Shaw. They're both so injury prone. Good players. Like, I like Mason Mount as a player, and I kind of, you know, I wish that things were going well for him, because I do think he is a player that can do a job in the team and stuff. It's just, if you can't stay fit, what's the point? What is the point in keeping him? I just generally don't see the point in Mason Mount at the moment, because the guy just cannot stay fit for more than a game, and then he's out for like 3 or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and then comes back, plays a 45-minute cameo, injured again. Like, it's ridiculous, the injury record. And Luke Shaw's been like that for ages, so I can't really complain. We know Luke Shaw's injury problems, but it's just really annoying that they're two players that we kind of need for the squad and rotation, and yet, you know, hardly available. But let me know what you think about that in the comments, and let me know what you think about all the other news discussed in today's video, because that is you all up to date with the latest transfer news and Man United news. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next one.